Okay, folks, good evening, everyone. Going to get started here. Just so you know, we started the recording of the meeting. So if anyone have any issues, can please exit and come back to view the recording later. Okay. So today's session we're going to spend time on the assignment 4, and the way we're going to go about this is you'll take tutorial 1, and I'll walk you through that tutorial to ensure that you understand each of the steps in there. And first and foremost, if you have downloaded the assignment information before Monday, I would strongly suggest that you go back and re-download the assignment and the tutorials, because the tutorial steps are changed, and so you would see that. So if you have downloaded it prior to Monday, I would suggest that you do that first, okay? Because there are some change steps in the new version of the tutorials, and not much for the assignment, but for the tutorials especially. And your assignment is going to be based on those steps, so that's kind of important, okay? All right, so let me share my screen here. And just requesting everyone to go on mute unless you have to speak. Okay, thank you. All right, so as you know, this assignment and the tutorials and this particular couple of weeks, you'll be learning about Spark and then PySpark. So this assignment is on PySpark, and so you'll be using the Apache Spark service. The other issues that I kind of noticed, I know a couple of you already bumped into it, is that when you try to add a service, you're not able to. And then for that, the easiest solution is to, if you have quite a few services already added on your dashboard, you may want to go on your dashboard and delete some of the services, because the maximum that you can go with is 10. Okay, so if you have already added like 10 services on your dashboard on your account, you may not be able to add any more services. So free up your account to ensure that you can add one more service for Apache Spark. So as you log into IBM Bluemix with your account ID that you've been using all along for this course, just get into that and into the data analytics section. I believe everybody should be okay with this particular step, no issues. And then as soon as you get into data and analytics, Apache Spark is probably going to be on the top, and this is the service you're going to pick, okay? So you click on Apache Spark. I'm just going to add this one. And folks, any questions, feel free to speak. You can go on off mute and speak if you have any questions, okay? So so once you click on Apache Spark, it's the same. You just come up with the service name with the credentials. No need to check anything here or change. So you just go on to create the Apache service. And once you are in here, now this is very important. I want everybody to pay attention here. It's very important that you can at this point click on the notebook, which would be an easier step. You can click on notebooks, but it would be using a site that is going to go away pretty soon. So you don't want to really go through that route at all. Once again, when you come to this point here after creating the Apache service, do not click on the notebook section. As you can see here, it's already mentioned, the notebook in capabilities in IBM Analytics for Apache Spark will be discontinued, right? So we're not going to go through that route, but we are going to go through a new platform, and these are the steps that have kind of, we've refreshed those steps for these tutorials and assignment, okay? New platform, which is the data science platform, and it's called Data Science Experience. So you click there, and it will bring you to this new screen. Okay, and I hope you are all able to see my new screen as well. If any issues, let me know. But you should see now a screen. It is like the IBM's new Data Science Experience site. And here, you don't have to sign up again. Please do not sign up with any other account, but just click on the sign in option. And you just put in the same ID that has been given to you. So you basically sign in again. And it works. Okay, so whatever the ID you had and the password you had for IBM Bluemix will work on this site as well. And once you are here, you can see that there are different tabs here, and you can just go through this tab if you'd like. And also, if you want, you can go through a quick start guide. But in terms of the tutorial, it's pretty easy to just go on to this the left area here. You click on the top there. It will open up a menu there where you would want to click on My Projects. Okay. So as you see here, there's My Projects, RStudio, Connections, and Object Storage. You may want to go on to My Projects. And this opens up another screen here with the listing of all projects, but primarily you'll see only one here, which will be the default project. So we can work with the default project for this tutorial and for this assignment as well. But if you want to just play around with creating yours, that's okay too. All right. But in this case, for this tutorial, we'll be using the default project. So once you're here, you click on your default project, and it will bring you to this project assets site here. Okay. So when you're on this site, and of course, the notebook section and the data assets section, it shows all these different sections here. And this is for your default project. So it will be kind of blank when you begin with. And the first thing that, once you're here, what you may want to do is click on the Add Assets, right? So Add Assets, it's this button here, the plus sign next to the data assets. So you click there on the data assets, and it will open up the screen that you see on the right here with the files, connections, and once again, this is all going to be a blank area when you begin, and you click on the browse. Okay, so pretty easy steps. You go onto this site, click on My Projects, you click on your default projects, and you can see the breadcrumbs here. It shows you that it's part of the default project. You click on, if you don't see this in the right screen here, this dark blue colored section of the page, if that's not open, you can click on Add Assets, and it will open this up for you. And you should be on this Files tab here. Okay, not on Connections, but on the Files tab, and then you click on Browse. It will open up a window for you where you can go to the area where you have downloaded the CSV files and the other files. Okay. So for this, now since I'd already downloaded 2015.csv file, I just I just have copied this data to another file so that it can let me download it. So I just double clicked it and waiting for it to kind of show up here. So this is, I don't know if you're able to see here, but it's kind of showing a very this message here. It's a very tiny message. Usually comes on the top, but this time it just came at the bottom here, which says uploading file, and it shows us some percentage. So it takes like a couple of minutes to load a file. So it's already at 30% and we should be done pretty soon. Any questions to this point? Since you're waiting for the file to upload, I can take in any questions that you may have. We're almost there, 75%. And folks, you don't have to really make any notes here because the steps that I'm kind of going through is already documented as part of the new version of the tutorials. It's all in there. I'm just kind of going through the same steps, okay? So as you see here, once the upload is complete, you'll see a check mark here and 2015 and the same file number is here. Along with that, you'll see that the apply button has now been enabled, okay? So there are these two files, so I'm just going to uncheck the one that I had already uploaded and just leave this 2015 webinar.csv file, okay? So I'm going to click apply at this point, and it said, do you want to modify the assets below? Just look at it, and it says remove. You don't want to remove that, so let me just go back and add that in. And okay, so apply. Okay, so that's good. So we got this file here now, and we can then move on to our next step, which is to add the notebooks. Okay. So once you come into this point here, you just want to, give a name to your notebook. But the main thing is that you want to, create a notebook from the file because a notebook has already been provided, and we are going to also upload the notebook. You can give any name here. You can give the same name as the name of the notebook there, or, you can provide your own name here. And once again, the speed is also dependent on the, the size of the file size and your internet speed. So you'll have to just have some patience while you're going through uploading this file, especially the CSV file. That very much depends because it has some a few million records in there. So it may take some time. Okay. I'm just trying to give some a different name than what I've used before. And if you want, you can just give a description. Okay. And then when you come below here, so there's a browse button here. You just click on that. Now, just check here, make sure that the Spark service is the service that you just created. It will be already chosen and listed here, so you don't have to do anything at this point. It's already been chosen for you, and so that you can move on to just click on the browse button here and pick the file that you want to upload. So in this case, we're going to go through tutorial 1, load data.ipynb. So as you can see here, it has already, this goes through very quickly, and a button gets enabled here, which is the create notebook. So you click on create. Okay, so you are in the Python notebook area here. So you got the menu for the notebooks, like from File, Edit, View, Insert, Cell. So if you're familiar with the notebook, have used the notebook before, so exactly, very similar options are provided here. And at this point, before you start executing any of the cells, there's one step that you need to do, and which is to go to the point where it says define the first RDD by loading the raw data. Okay, so at this point, just comment out the only line that may be uncommented, which is it's declaring and creating a weather object. So we'll just kind of comment that out. And at this point, while you are on this cell, on this cell which is right below define the first RDD, you go on this tab here, on this green, there's this icons here. So the second to the last icon here, which says find and add data. You click on that, and it will show you this file. So in this case, I had got like two files uploaded. So that's why it's just showing two. But in your case, if this is the very first time, it will show only the file that you just uploaded. It's 2015.csv. Okay. So I can just use this. Now click on this one here, which says insert to code. Okay. And there are a few options here. The option that you would choose is insert Spark RDD. Okay. So you click, and you see that it has actually populated this cell with some code here that is required for the service. So all that code has been put up here, and as you can see here, the two statements that you had already commented out is at the bottom. Okay, so you don't want to do anything with that, just leave them commented. And this next step that you do here, and the only other step on this cell, is changing this variable name RDD_data_1 to weather. So you just change that to weather. And that's pretty much it. So then you are kind of all set to kind of start from the top. So you'll go back, and before you start executing the cell, you can just click on File and save it. Okay, make sure you save it so that whatever the changes that you made, only the cell changes you made is there. Okay, in case you lose connectivity or for whatever reason you have to exit at this point. Okay, so now that you've completed the steps here, you can start. You can click on your first cell, which is this particular cell, which is just nothing but an information, but you can just start executing it. So you would run a cell at a time. You can just click on this one. It would straight go on to the second, because as you know, this is just information cells. That's nothing much. Now upload the data. Once again, this is the information cell. So click on that, and now it has gone to this particular cell. Once again, it's just showing you some of the data information in there. So you can read through that, and then click on it. Of course, there's no action happening until you come to a point where the changes you have made. So once again, same information here, and we click on it, and we'll come to this point here. So this is where you've kind of made some changes. So let's see if the changes are good. Okay, so you're going to execute this cell now. And while this is executing, what you can see here, that it will show an asterisk here, which is kind of saying that it's still working on it. Now it is given us some number here, which means it has completed the processing, and we should see the results and not any errors. If at this point you see any errors, then you'll have to just kind of go back and see if this particular step has already populated, or if you missed out on renaming the variable name. So just check all that before you kind of proceed. But it's very important that this step is that you're going to be successful. So this is the code which is going to just have the get connectivity for you from the service. Okay, so it has got the data for you. So now you can keep going to all the other cells. So it's going to print the total records in this table. Okay, so let's see if we get the same number again. As you can see, the number that was already there just kind of wiped out, and now it has come up and then once again printed the number as soon as it's processing. So it did go through the entire, and getting the total records in this data set, which is 4 million records, 4.5 million records in this particular file. Okay, so we can keep going. And before I move on, any questions on this step? Any questions up to this point?
No.
Is everybody able to follow? If not, you can speak up. Okay. All right. So keep going. Again, there's information cell, and there's another, code that's going to be executed, and it's going to print the first line in this data set. And okay, comes back soon and come back very quickly. But once again, it depends on your connection speed and how we're kind of going through and executing the cell. So sometimes it may take some time, and you have to just look at the status here. So if you see that it's been a while and you're not seeing the message come up, just come here and look at the status of the cell. So this is one thing that you're going to see. If it is already showing an asterisk, then it is kind of working on it. The other thing that you would want to see here is this next to Python, Python 2 with Spark 1.6, and if there's a no kernel, if you get that kind of a message, that means your kernel that this book is running on it's not functioning, so you'll have to kind of restart at that point. So maybe you want to come to this kernel menu here, and you restart the menu and restart the kernel. So there are different options here to restart, you can restart it and just keep going from where you left, or you can just restart and clear all the output and start all over again from top. Okay, so you can do that anytime. So if you've gone through all the steps, you want to run the book again, just restart and clear the output. Okay, so there's some information there. I believe someone was trying to ask a question. I'm sorry. Can go ahead.
Sorry, this is Esther. I just wanted to ask really quick. Could you? I missed the part where you were saying about renaming the variable.
Could you be just a little louder? I can barely hear you.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry. I was just asking when you changed the name of the variable. Could you? I missed that step. Could you show that one more time?
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, so this is the point here. So when you come here to this cell the first time, when you upload your notebook and you open it up and you come to this particular cell, which is also mentioned in the tutorial, it comes up with these two, there are two lines in this particular cell to begin with. The first one is uncommented out, and the second is commented. Okay, you want to make sure that you comment out both these, that all these whether variable declaration, the object creation, you're commenting it out. Once you've commented it, then you come to this step here, come to this file section, and you'll see that the file that you've uploaded would be displayed here. At this point, and just right below the name of the file, there's this insert to code command. So you would click on this drop down, and it will show you 4 different options. You'd want to pick the option insert Spark RDD. Once you click on that, it's going to populate this cell with all these all this information in here. So all the lines of code is being populated in this cell automatically as soon as you click on that insert Spark RDD. So this is your new code in the cell, an additional code, and the old two statements that you had seen, you can see it at the bottom of this cell, and it can be on the top, doesn't matter. As long as these two statements have been commented out, there's no issue there, okay? Now, the other thing that we do on in this cell is also ensure that, this weather is actually RDD underscore data underscore 1. That was the name of the variable. So you want to change that to weather. Okay, so that both these statements, you would want to go and change them and just change that variable name to weather. And once that's done, that's pretty much it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so we were right at this point. Okay, so we finished the step and we go on to the information steps, information cells, and we keep executing it. Okay, so there's another piece of code. So that's also executed successfully. If there's any error message, it will be printed right after the cell, and right at the bottom of the cell, it would wherever the output gets printed out, you'd see an error. There's a lot of information cells here. So you want to read through all this information and kind of proceed. So, it's not just about executing the cells and getting the output, but, I think the important is, it's also important to kind of read through the documentation that's been put up here along with those statements, okay? Okay, so in this case, it executes a function, and then it's going to print the first line again, and then it's going to look at the individual elements. Now you see, look at this one again, it's taking some time, so it was an asterisk, and now it changed it to a number here, a digit, right? And along with that, there's an output also just produced at the bottom of the cell. So what we're doing now, since we got the first line, it's now going to, break up and show us all the individual elements based on, which one. So it starts with the first one, and, based on the index, it picked up the first one. There's another one that's going to be printed out. Then kind of almost there. So we can just selecting the subset of the rows here. So we're selecting the data set by rows with precipitation data values in it. So just keep going. Okay, so reach a statement, few statements again. Just run. Remember to just read through as to what statements we are executing, and what should be the output, or what output we are getting. So in the interest of time, we're not kind of going through line by line and trying to understand, but because there's a lot of information in here, that's going to be helpful. Okay, so we are almost there. Okay, so print out the first 10 stations and their average precipitation. And this is in the descending order. Okay, you're done. So since you just kind of clicked on this last cell, make sure that it prints out and you see all these value exactly as it was displayed earlier. And you have an additional cell, you can just, if you want, you can retain it or you can just trim it down. And at this point, once again, the very first thing you want to do, and even in between, keep saving the file, okay? I mean, I know we're not making any changes, so we're good except for the first one, but just keep saving the file so that it will save the output that you have got so far. Now, once you're done with the output and executing the last statement, and before I go to the next step, any questions, folks? Is everybody able to follow? So there's only one thing that you're doing here, and that is just changing the cell, one of the cells there. But other than that, you're pretty much executing each cell, kind of going through the information, reading through it, understanding it, and then, as per the tutorial, one of the step is to, you can download this. You should be downloading it into an HTML form, and that is something that you would be submitting in your along with your assignment. Okay, so this is going to be your, one of the parts is like going through tutorial 1, then tutorial 2, your assignment 4, and then the Spark quiz. Okay, so that will kind of be like an entire bundle that you have to go through. And the other notebook also kind of just show you how you would go about and upload it, but it's going to be simple at this point. You've kind of gone through the main part here, so the second part should not be that difficult. It's just going to that default project again and go to that project assets page. But anyways, let's go step by step. So at this point, you just click on download as and click on HTML. And it says just save file. So you saved your HTML file, and then you're good here. Okay, so you've gone through your tutorial 1. Okay, now you would want to, let's say you're done with your tutorial, you save the files, everything's good. You go back to your default project, and once you click on your default project, it brings you back onto your this particular screen here with the My Project screen with the project assets page. And at this point, once you have ready to upload another notebook, you just click Add Notebooks here. Same steps. You click on Add Notebooks. You click on From File. You provide a name, description, and then you upload your tutorial file number 2. Okay. So you then once you kind of browse and you got the notebook file, make sure the Spark service is populated right, and then this button here, Create Notebook, is enabled, and you go to the same step. Okay, so the very similar thing that very similar changes you have to do in that notebook as well, and the steps have been provided to you in the tutorial in details. It's exactly the same step what we just went through with tutorial 1. Very similar. Now, once this notebook is created, it will of course take you to the notebook page. But also in your default, whenever you come back to your default, the project assets page for your default project, you'll see that that tutorial file is also loaded. Okay, so you can even go from here if you want to open that notebook. So let's say I kind of already uploaded this notebook earlier, so it kind of just brings me to this notebook. So somebody just print out the reminder that there will be, there are points for this tutorial. So as I was saying earlier, the assignment, this is like a complete package that you would have to complete. like a full bundle of tutorial 1. You have to submit the HTML file. So that step of HTML, the step of submitting the HTML file is very important. It's not just about going through this tutorial, but also, submitting the HTML file. Make sure that you download it. Okay. So even in this particular notebook, you go through the same step where you see the weather object that gets created. You will be changing that as well. Okay. So here you're creating the weather object, and so you'd be just clicking on this cell and then going through that insert code step again. Okay. All right. So any questions? And the other thing that you'd also notice that once you go through all the steps, you made changes as per mentioned in the notebook. The files that you'd be creating, you'd see it here. It's displayed here in this particular area. So whenever you're done executing your and going through all the different cells or executing the code within the tutorial 2 notebook, you may want to come to this default project page to see the list of all files that are going to be produced or created. Okay, they're all going to be here, so you should see all these files, and it's also this list is provided. So maybe just verify that all these files have been created, and you'll do the same step of having the HTML from that notebook. Okay. Any questions? I think we are pretty much done with the walkthrough here, so kind of opening up the question for any general question that you may have. Anything that you may be struggling with at this point or any challenges. But I think as from the IBM Bluemix perspective, just have one more step of data science experience, but it looks good so far. And I would suggest everyone to kind of just start working on it right away and not wait until the last minute or the last weekend, because weekend sometimes there's this the maintenance schedule for these sites, so you may want to be careful with that and start working on it. In case you get stumped with anything here or any issues, you can work on it earlier than the last day. So start working on it. Download the tutorial files. Go through these steps and see if you have any issues.
Linus, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Jonathan.
There's only one data set in the tutorial section. You were saying about loading another data set?
No, there's only one 2015.csv. The data set that you would need, the other data set that you would need would be at the time of your assignment. There's another data set that's given in assignment 4. For tutorial 1 and 2, you only need one data set, which is 2015.csv.
Okay, thank you.
So in that assignment 4, when you are completed with the tutorial 2, you pretty much go through the same steps as we went through with tutorial 1, where you upload a data set, you create a note, or you upload the notebook, and you make changes to the area, the cell where the where the variable would be created, and the object is created for the first time. You go through the insert code statement there, and you should be able to walk through the rest of the code within that assignment 4 Python file. Any other questions? So as you can see here, we are in data science experience. This is a new tab, and there's also the IBM Bluemix tab. So you'll probably see the two tabs kind of open because you're on kind of technically you're on two websites here. It's just that it's same IBM's website, and they're just kind of bringing everyone for data science, for notebooks and all that. So it's a lot of this, data science and data analytics portion is being moved to this Data Science Experience website. Okay. Any other general questions? Okay, if not, I can just stop sharing, and if no other questions, then we can call it a wrap, but just let me ask one more time in case I missed anything. There was a question probably in the chat that I may have missed. It's from Jonathan. Did you say review saving the file again? Jonathan, did you get that? Are you okay with reviewing the file? Okay, you're not? Okay, let me show you then. So you mentioned that how will you save it as so if you click on, let me just go to the notebooks. Just trying to open it into the notebook area. Just bear with me for a minute. Okay, here we go. Okay, so once you're done, you click on the file menu here on the top of the notebook. So you click file, and then click on download as. So you come down to this option. This option gives you the other different options, as you can download it as a notebook, as a Python file, as a py file, or as an HTML or Markdown. So you want to pick this HTML option. So you download as HTML. And once you click on that, it will kind of show you the window where it can save the HTML file. So all this, the entire notebook is saved as an HTML. Was that okay, Jonathan? Did you follow that? Okay. Any other questions?